or a couple of features, should I say, that I was going to cover on Sunday night, but didn't have time because I spent so much time with Adam Gibbs, which was far more entertaining. But look, let me cover a couple of these features with you. Right, okay. Right, so landscape photography on TV. Do you know what? I had that long discussion. I'm not going to go over it again, don't worry, but I had that long discussion. That was going to be one of 3 different features that I was going to chat about on Sunday with Adam Gibbs, but I only managed to talk about one. Worse still, I didn't actually then check your comments. So what I'm concerned about is having a live show and not discussing with you guys or letting you guys have your say. So that's the reason why I decided to cram this in tonight and only have one interview. Although, obviously, I didn't anticipate that I'd be talking to Adam Gibbs for so long. I kind of earmarked about 30 minutes, but at the end of the day, I knew you guys wouldn't mind because he's such a fascinating bloke and his work is outstanding. At the end of the day, it's not every day you get a chance to speak, face to face with somebody like that. So I'm eternally grateful to Adam for that. But right now, let's talk about 2 little things. One of them, and I really, really, really want you to take this with a pinch of salt. And please don't think I'm getting on my high horse or anything at all like that. Look, I'm getting excited now, but I just had this madcap idea. And I thought, not an idea, I just had this madcap thought. And in which case, I thought I would share it with you. It's a really ridiculous short thought, and I just want to go over it with you guys for 5 minutes. And then we'll get down to obviously what you guys are all here for, which is critiquing your work and so on and so forth, right? Okay, so this is my daft thought. I was sat down on the phone chatting with my friend, and I came up with this thought. And that is, there are people alive right now who wouldn't be alive right now. Already it's stupid, I get that. But let me explain. There are probably thousands and thousands of people who are alive right now due to the situation that we find ourselves in with this pandemic. But the thing is, we'll never know who they are. Never, in which case, probably not worthwhile chatting about it. But that got me a thinking. So I looked at various different sources just to try and find out some numbers. Now let me explain what I mean. Because of the lockdown throughout the world, people aren't going about their business like they ordinarily would do. And because of that, yes, I know horribly a lot of people have died. I'm not making light of this, I'm really not. But there are an awful lot of people right now alive who would ordinarily not be. So let me explain. For one, road traffic accidents. Now, clearly, there are still road traffic accidents going on now, but obviously there is way less road traffic accidents going on now because of the lack of volume of traffic on the road, shall we say. So I'll give an example. Approximately, check this, numbers are just mental. 1.35 million people a year die in road crash accidents. So that means that's 3,700 people throughout the world lose their lives every day on the road. 700 deaths per day in China alone. That's mind-blowing. But of course, we can't ever factor the fact that many people haven't died during the pandemic. But it does make you think that there are people driving now who, again, just according to facts and figures, would be dead now. It's bizarre, really. Cycling. I was quite surprised by this, actually, but I thought there would be way more people killed, as cyclists on the road. But things like work-related deaths, people who would, or maybe stress-related illnesses, for instance. What about crime? I'm not saying none of this is still going on, but clearly, there's got to be way less crime around at the moment. What about building fires and aircraft crashes? What about recreational activities? People on a day-to-day business die doing certain things that this pandemic has obviously restricted them from doing, whether it's driving, whether it's flying, or whether it's just being active hither and thither. I just thought that was a bit fascinating, especially when I then looked at the figures. It's something like one person dies every 1.25 seconds or something throughout the world just through RTAs alone. I've no idea what the figures are or have been like over the last 6 or 8 weeks, but I'd be very interested to find out. But that definitely does mean that there are an awful lot of people who are alive now who wouldn't ordinarily be had it not been for the situation we find ourselves in. And please guys, I'm really, really, really not playing that down. It's just a flippant thing I just thought of, and I just thought I'd share it with you. The next thing, let's have a quick look. Now, it's about a 30-second delay, but what's your thought process on that? Leave a comment below. I didn't want to make anything serious of it, otherwise you'll think I'm just an idiot. But I've just had one of these thoughts, so I just thought I'd share it with you. Carol, hello Carol. The problem is now a 30-second delay. I've got to wait for you guys to leave any comments if you think that little rant of mine, call it a rant if you wish, or that little thought process of mine really warranted a reply. I'm not really sure, but hey, there you go. Yep, top man is Adam Gibbs. Thank you, Raymond. Agree. When will your first photography session happen? Now you can get out, and where will it be? We'll talk about that next, Greg. Rick, adding to the alive list are the number that have not been shot in the USA. That's so true. Rick, that's what I'm talking about. Nobody will ever factor that in. Again, I'm not saying factor it as if it's a game, because it's not. I'm not good at this, because people always misinterpret what I'm saying. Maybe because I'm saying it with a smile on my face, but I don't mean to say it with a smile on my face. That's just me. But what Rick Mentor just said there is absolutely true, something I didn't think of. I wonder how many people die through gunshot injuries or gang violence, for instance. Again, I'm not saying these things aren't going on, but clearly they can't be going on as much. I don't see it that way, because COVID-19 was going to happen, so the deaths in other ways would never happen anyway, if that makes sense. Yeah, see? See, you're as daft as I am. I totally understand what you mean. Spot on, Gary. Just got 30 euros back from my car insurance company and 90 from my health insurance company. Oh, good. Excellent. Good point. Cheers, Joe. Hi, Gary. Hello, Chris. If everyone thinks they might not have been alive if C-19 hadn't made them self-isolate, the moaning might stop. Oh, interesting, isn't it? Right, okay. So let's talk about one other thing, just a very, very brief thing. The rules have changed, which means now, please let me know your thoughts, because I don't want any backlash from this, but as far as I'm concerned, I could have carried on vlogging anyway, because it's what I do, it's my profession, and the government has always tried to make sure that people who can work should work if you can't work from home. But anyway, I've never done it because I didn't want the backlash, because it's very difficult. Lots of people are getting argy-bargy, when you're going when you're seen to be leaving your town and all the rest of it. But the rules have changed now. It means now, in theory, keeping it very brief, we can now travel an indefinite length, and we can stop for an indefinite length of time or period of time. And we can stop and rest, sit down, obviously as long as we maintain our social distancing, and we can have lunch and all the rest of it. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I see that as fair game for me now to start vlogging again, which I could have done anyway legally. But again, like I said, I really didn't want any backlash. I need your thoughts on that. But my thought process is, I'm heading out tomorrow to do some woodland photography. It's not in the Lake District or anywhere like that. I'm not going to head on to the coast where, you know, people might get a bit upset. I'm just going to venture out on my own into a woodland spot and take some pictures where I can comfortably walk on my own, where there's not likely to be anybody else around, where I can stop and take some pictures. That's my thought process and that's my intentions. So in other words, I fully intend to start vlogging tomorrow. If I did that, please be honest with me, and for heaven's sake, guys, if you don't agree with me, fine, have your say, I don't mind that, but don't fall out with each other in the comments. But let me know what you guys think, please. Let me know what you guys think. Whoop whoop, I made hi from La La Land, right, Lynette? Shot outside clubs. I had argued that there would be some sort of human hibernation after Christmas to the state of what to the stat. I don't understand that, Rick. Rick, what do you mean? Shot outside clubs. Okay. Are the rules not Yes. Oh yeah. Let me make that perfectly clear. Isn't the world a strange place? Because even I didn't understand that either. But know what Rick has just said there? You're absolutely right. Don't you find it really strange that Boris, our Prime Minister, sets out rules and regulations? He's the Prime Minister of England, Ireland, Scotland, Northern Ireland, blah, whatever it is. He's our Prime Minister. He set out the rules and regulations. But in Wales, they can formulate their own rules. And they can in Scotland as well. Because Scotland, I believe, aren't being as relaxed, and nor are Wales. I just find that really weird. I naturally thought there would have been a chain of command. So if the big fella says you can do something, to have people under him overrule him does seem, plays with my head a bit. No, I'm staying in England, by the way, so I'm not venturing down to Wales. Again, I don't understand the politics of it all, but I'm certainly not going to go against the politics of it all. So I'm going to stay fairly local. It's a short drive away from my house, but I'm going to go to a woodland and I'm going to take some photographs where there's nobody else around. Okay, in England, right? But mental. I like this because I can bounce back and forth with you guys. Remember, Scotland is not free to travel. We are stuck in lockdown. Derek, you're so right. You're absolutely so right. So, okay, I feel sorry for you guys. And to be honest, I don't quite understand why we've come out of lockdown like we have done just yet. I thought maybe another 2 or 3 weeks, which deep down inside me, I still feel as if it should be 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, it's a bit of a strange one actually. Makes sense to me, Gary. It's your job. Yeah, but I know, but I don't want to fall out with anybody. Spare a thought for the over 70s. Yes, I thought I could go out again, but then remembered I've still got a further 4 weeks of self-isolation to do. All right, okay, all right, Derek. Why have you got more isolation to do? Is that because you're over 70? Proceed with extreme caution, says Gary Beaumont. Yeah, sounds great. I mean, go for it. That's Robert from Scotland. Cheers, Rob. Okay, so they're just coming through now. Steve Whitefoot. I feel that technically you could have gone out vlogging before, as you can't do landscape photography working from home, but you chose to be responsible and fair to you. Okay, well, yeah, I did choose to be responsible. I didn't want to fall out with anybody. It's difficult getting views on my bloody videos as it is. I think if you stay in fairly local and abide by the 2 meter rule, go for it. Again, Carol, you're absolutely right, but I've got no intentions of going to a place where there's going to be lots of people around anyway. It's a political, going back on to, it's a political power struggle. Some people enjoying a little bit of misplaced power. Yes, but that's not for this vlog. But yeah, I know exactly. Is it Crankies comes to mind? I'm saying absolutely more than that. Dave Pierce, bloody hell, co-hosting today, Dave. Been on walks with the wife since the lockdown. Dave, I'm really sorry about that. Obviously, I feel more sorry for your wife. But because I've been on walks with you in the past as well. So I definitely feel sorry for your wife. Lucky to have plenty of countryside all around. Never see anyone, so vlogging would be okay. So there you go. Right, okay, you can carry on leaving comments if you want, but let's crack on because I've got some bits and pieces to do. So what should I do first? What should I do first? Bear with me a sec, guys. I don't really know what I'm going to do. Let's have a quick look. Let's go on to my folder for tonight. You can see this is really well organized. Before we get going, and before I lose too many people, by the way, just confirmed my guest for Sunday night. And if anybody could share this, I'd love it if you could. My guest for Sunday night is if Adam Gibbs wasn't a big enough name for me to pull onto my live gig. I'm really, really excited. I've got Nick Page that's going to be interviewed live with me or by me on Sunday on a face-to-face, exactly the same as what I did with Adam Gibbs. So we're going to be set up on a face-to-face video conference call, and it's going to go out live to you guys. Nick Page, I'm sure everybody out there must know the big bearded fella, Nick Page. I love the guy to death. His work is absolutely outstanding. I'm not just saying it, but I need some viewers. I need people to watch the blooming live video. So if anybody could say the word or spread the word out there, it would be fantastic. But Nick Page is a massive, massive scoop for me. And if anything, you know, I'm really excited by it. And I don't want to embarrass myself by only having a few people watch. Right, okay. Facebook or critique? Somebody leave a comment. Which one should I do first? The first one that comes up. All right, so I've got 30 seconds. The first one that comes up. Facebook, as in the best of Facebook, or start critiquing your pictures. Which one should I do first? Nick Page, there you go. We'll be there with bells on my hair. Fantastic. Critique. John Hare says critique. Unlucky. John Hare, you win. Critique it is. Let's crack on. Has John got any pictures in for critique? I hope he has now. All right, okay. Blimey. Okay, how can I do this? Let's have a look. Let's go to desktop and me on there. Let's fire this up. Right, in no particular order. So just double check just to make sure that you guys now can see this. Because at the moment, because I'm using this other bit of software, bloody hell, it's really confusing. It really is damn confusing. Right, okay. So before I start critiquing your pictures, it's really, really important to note that I'm only giving you my interpretation of something, which you have to take with a pinch of salt. When Steve Mathies and myself did some critiquing a couple of weeks ago, Steve said it perfectly. You know, you've got to take what we're saying with a pinch of salt. However, you know, there are times when people create images that clearly aren't balanced or aren't exposed correctly or wonky. And so they're the things that I want to pick bones out of some of these pictures. Not the genre, not the subject matter, but the technical side, that's all. But the most important thing is to remember, whenever you take a picture, is you take a picture for you and for nobody else. You simply take a picture for you and nobody else. As long as the picture comes out how you've got it perceived in your mind, then that's right as far as you're concerned. So I'm only looking at it from a technical aspect, from a technical point of view. Let me just check just to make sure. Okay. People saying they're going to be there, all the rest of it, which is absolutely fantastic. Thank you. Okay, so let's crack on. Tony, if any of this goes wonky, do me a favor, drop me a text, please, because otherwise I can't see my screen except for people's pictures that I'm looking at. All right. So I'm sure people won't mind me actually saying who they are, but this is Brian's picture. Now, again, no particular order. I promise no particular order. I've got a whole pile of them to go through, and I've just randomly chosen this one to begin with at first. Right, okay, the first thing that jumps out of me, Brian, with this particular picture is you need breathing space. It's beautiful. The lighting is fine. I love the content, but you need breathing space. In other words, if you look at the top of the mountain, you've literally got you've got half an inch distance or gap between the top of the mountain and the top of the picture. Again, I don't want everybody to be boring with their pictures in terms of rules of thirds and so on and so forth, but trust me, if you stick with a particular formula, then it will definitely work. So the only thing with this is there's a lot in the foreground that possibly wouldn't or shouldn't be there, because what you've got to do, you have to look at parts of the picture and think, is this right? Is it adding to the picture? Or am I looking around and looking for something, trying to find something of interest? In which case, is it adding value to the picture? If it isn't, get rid of it. So for me, I would have gone with a more letterbox crop. This is only me. I would have gone with a more letterbox crop, but I'm a great believer in allowing a picture to breathe and there's no space. I hate things peeping in. I hate it. But no, nice, Brian. Thanks for sending that in. Thank you very much indeed. Where did that come from? Who's that one? Oh, I put everybody's names on their pictures except this one. Isn't that just annoying? Anyway, you'll know who this is. I like this picture. I like the rules of thirds. I love the sheep. My eye was instantly drawn to the little silhouettes of the sheep, or the silhouette of the sheep just there on the mountainside, and I really like it. I think it's great. But, and again, please, you've got to take this on board. It's only me, and I'm only giving you my interpretation of the picture. I have a bit of a bugbear for square crop pictures. It's not quite square. I totally get that. But it's too square. In other words, it doesn't look like we would see it with our natural eye. You know, we're looking with our peripheral vision 35mm and slightly wider, and that's why TVs are the shape that they are. That's why they're 16:9 ratio, because that's more comfortable for humans to look at. So personally, I very rarely ever take landscape pictures in portrait orientation, although sometimes I do. Sometimes I do if the picture deserves it. But in this instance, I think that this beautiful picture is probably spoilt by the fact it's more square. Sorry, but I love it. I love it. I love the thought process with the road coming in from the bottom left hand side, and those sheep really make it for me as foreground interest. I love the mood of the picture, and I love it all. I'm just not keen on the square crop, but yeah, but very nice. Right, Joe, let me bring up Joe's picture. Llanberis. I'm sure most of us have been to Llanberis to take this picture. Right. Okay. Joe, it's okay. It's difficult to get this one wrong, really, if I'm honest. But what I don't like is, and I'm a stickler for this, you'll never see this in my shots, but I'm about to indicate and let you know how anal I am when it comes to my landscape photography. The tree, the branch on the left-hand side, sticking out on the left-hand side, some of the branches are dropping down and overhanging the mountain in the background. And that's as bad as something peeping into the side of the frame. If you'd lowered yourself down a bit more, not only would you have made that tree a bit more dominant, but you would have created space between them both. And the only other thing is the horizon has to be level. It's a real beginner's mistake. But for me, the biggest problem with this, I'm really sorry, but the biggest problem with this is the lack of detail. In other words, missing detail. If ever I was to give somebody or create a video of, let's say for instance, my 5 tips for beginners, my one tip would be obviously wonky horizons. They have to be right, especially obviously where water's concerned, because it's a natural process. but 2 is missing detail, and I'm not necessarily in that order. Missing detail. And what I always say to people is, look, and I always say this on my workshops all the time, if I sat you there with a paint easel and paint and asked you to paint the scene, you wouldn't paint bright white where there's detail missing. You would always paint detail in, because the human eye cannot see anything overexposed in the image. So when we look at pictures that clearly are overexposed in the image, I'm talking about the back of the tree here. It's a very difficult shot to try and capture that. But what I'm talking about in that instance, just be very, very careful. So always try your best to maintain. But also, here's a tip for you. Let me just see if I can just find this. While you're looking at my screen, don't move from there. 1 second. If I pop this up here, if I come here, 1 second, I'll just show you a picture that it's on my latest video. Oh, wrong one. Didn't mean to go there. I want to go that one there. Pictures, all the work that I do. Oh, I don't want to go there either. Jeez, Gary. That's it. Crimpy out. Take a look at this. This is a picture that I took. And try experimenting with your photography. As in, this was a super, super bright and dark day. In other words, you know, you get those days where the sun is screaming through the clouds. Here's the thing. Try exposing for the brightest light source in your frame. So in other words, that light is a natural light on the left hand side. That's actually a natural light on the left hand side. And that on an ordinary exposure would have been grossly overexposed. Grossly overexposed. Same as that one there. So all this light in this area here would have been grossly overexposed. But the minute you expose for the light in that instance, then the rest of the image gets darker. But, you know, it's amazing what results can be created from that. So that's what I would suggest you do, like that shot there, for instance. Just experiment with it. Just in other words, you'll see in my images here, nothing is overexposed in that sky. All those light beams are all natural. Even down here, everything, even up here, a little tiny bit of light, everything is natural. Okay. Now I've lost it. Come back. That's me. Hopefully if you guys are still with me. Again, I can't see any while I'm doing this, guys. I can't see anything. So if you guys are commenting, Joe, this is another shot from Joe. This is interesting. If we have any portrait photographers, or if we don't have any portrait photographers, look, let me show you. I'll show you a live experiment now. Watch this. Every time you take a picture of a face, or every time eyes are in a face, every time eyes are in a picture, always put the eyes, this is my rule, always put the eyes on the top third, right? Unless they're fitting in a scene. So in other words, if you imagine, let's go back to, let's say, wedding photography. If you've got a bride and groom, you've got a big picture like this, okay? If you have a bride and groom up close, their eyes, okay, are on the top third, there. If you've got a close-up. If you've got group shots, you put their eyes there on the top third. If it's a real close-up of a bride, the eyes are still there on the third. The only time that would ever change is if you wanted to make a bride and groom, say, small in the frame, for instance, but have a big building. In other words, if they get married by a castle and you want to show off the castle, then clearly it's down there. But as a general rule, as portrait photographers, when you photograph somebody, a person, then their eyes are always on the top third. But look, don't take my word for it. Let me do this live for you now. I'm going to bring up Google. Ladies magazine. Right, okay. Vogue. Right, watch this, right? Vogue front covers. Right, now, As a general rule, the eyes are always on the top third, okay? The only time that ever really changes is if you're photographing fashion, because fashion always goes against the grain. You agree? Fashion is all about lovey-dovey. I'm not doing rules of thirds because it's unfashionable. So I have to be fashionable and not do what everybody else does. So if anybody is going to go against the rules of thirds, on my theory, it's going to be a fashion company of fashion photographers. But let's look. Right. Watch this. Bearing in mind also that editorial has the right to move stuff around. Take a look at this. Imagine when you're looking at your screen now. Let me go desktop full screen so you guys can clearly see what I'm talking about. If you were to grab a line, back with me so I can explain what I mean. If you were to imagine a line from this side to that side covering all of the magazines and they were all on the top third, watch where all the eyes are. Look. Top third. You could pretty much draw a line across there. Now that one's slightly higher. Look, 3. Slightly higher. Perfect. Slightly higher. But all those, look. Drawing a line across there. And that's editorial, remember? So editorial has the right to move stuff around just to get words in. But you'll notice whether it's up close like that or whether, she's lying in the bath. Look where the eyes are. Look where the eyes are. All along there. Again, that's slightly different because it's editorial, so they can start moving stuff around. Plus, it's a group of people. Look. Isn't that strange? There you go. Ladies' magazines, that could have been... Yeah, I never thought of that, ladies' magazines. I don't know what you mean. Right, so let's go back to this picture, Joe. I want to bring this picture back up again. Unfortunately, the minute our eyes drop down in the picture, especially in the instance like this, what we've got is a passport photo. And so it's about composition, Joe. Try and work on your composition a bit more. Just try and think of my theory and just practice it, okay? I'm not saying what I'm saying is right or what I'm saying is gospel, but try it. Take the eyes higher up. But because the subject's looking from obviously left to right, or from right to left in this instance, then move the subject across to the negative space. Keep the subject away from the middle. Okay, that's my 2 penneth worth. Okay, this one. This is a nice picture, but for me it's very... I don't know. If I have to look around a picture, that's not necessarily a bad thing, and that's what I found myself doing. So yeah, done well to maintain all the detail in there. Again, yeah, it's nice. I just want you to stick with rules of thirds. The sky, let's get a bit of breathing space if we can, just a little bit of breathing space on the top there. Lovely subject, lovely lighting, lovely mist, really, really nice. Again, got to be careful because I don't know your skill set. If you're a professional photographer, I'd have a go at you for this picture. But if you're really new to photography, then this is a masterpiece. So you've got to work that out yourself. Okay, yeah, again, nice picture, lovely colours. So the subject's really nice. I like the crop. I don't think the water is level, but just give yourself some space. Give it some breathing space. Step back a little bit. Take a wider pano shot. Yeah, so just a couple of mistakes there. The water level's not right, and yeah, the subject matter is fantastic. But let's get the water level, and also let's go a bit wider with that picture. Or not necessarily wider, but just give it some breathing space. Because that mountain, for instance, it's going out of the frame right in the middle of the frame, and yeah, On the left hand side you've got the handrail coming down into the water. I like that. That's fitting well in terms of a third, but I would have moved my body slightly further to the right and aimed the camera slightly further left to bring the snow-capped mountains in a little bit more. Mind you, that's assuming you can. Maybe you couldn't do that. Okay, let's have a look at this next one. Moving on very quickly. Yeah, okay, I quite like this one. We all have our steam trains. We all have our steam. Just watch your, Keith, just watch your processing. This looks to be heavily processed. To me, this looks like as if it's a picture being taken on a phone and then post-processed to within an inch of its life. Yeah, but the subject matter is fantastic. Rules of third is fantastic. I like it. Nice and bright and nice and airy. Quite nice. Another one. Yeah, good shot. Keith, if you're here, do me a favour. Just tell me what camera this was taken on. Either that or you've worked hard to try and pull detail. This is what I was talking about earlier on. And this is why that we use our neutral density filters to stop this from happening. The lack of detail in the sky, because the sky is so bright. And again, possibly overexposed because the clouds emitting, or the steam emitting from the train, parts of that is slightly overexposed as well. So again, you're really going to have to bring that exposure down. You'll really have to bring it down. It's not exactly a fast moving subject, but I very much doubt you'll be able to HDR it. So in this instance, to bring detail down in the sky, you are going to have to use neutral density filters. Okay. Yeah, it's quite nice. That sky's a bit nuts, isn't it? That cloud's a bit nuts. I'm guessing you've possibly used a long exposure. I don't like to pixel peep. That it winds me up when people pixel peep. I just want to see how it would look in print, and that's how I would see it in print. I just wanted to see if there's any movement on that tree. Yeah, it's a nice picture. That's okay. It's just difficult to comment on pictures that don't really float your boat, but yeah, it's nice. That cloud is just amazing. It's fantastic. Let's move on. Okay, I'm trying to determine if it's a bit soft or if you've made it soft in post-production. It looks to me as if you've added lots of noise reduction on it and you've reduced the image. You've made the image look a bit soft, but also there are some lack of detail around here. But overall that's a nice picture, and it's got quite a nice feel to it as well, so that's quite nice. Yeah, the minute you've got, I'll explain something about this picture. The minute you've got the dog in it and the minute you've got the subject in it, they have to be relevant to the image. If they're not relevant to the image, or if they are relevant to the image but it's just a snapshot, then unfortunately this picture just comes across as a snapshot. Malcolm, that's all it is. If that's your wife, your girlfriend, whatever that's in the shot, then she has to be in the shot for a reason. So in other words, if she was turned around looking out into the frame, then she's there for a reason, and that would tell a tale. At the moment, it just looks like you've gone to the top of the hill and just snapped a picture with your phone. Same as the dog. If the dog is in there, lovely dog by the way, but if the dog's in there, the dog has to be in it for a reason. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's sorry, Malcolm. Again, there has to be a feature that has. I'm looking round for something of interest in the image. The water's not level. There's missing detail in the sky, and these down here are what I'm talking about, with things that are peeping in. I think if I look there, down here, these are things that are peeping in, and personally, I really don't like it. But it's the water's all on a slope, and okay, that's not very exciting. So Malcolm, you just need to work on your composition a bit more. The basics, just to make sure, please, that you maintain the detail wherever possible. Okay, and if it means that you have to take a darker picture, then so be it. Because us as human beings would never look out and see a scene that looked like that. And also the water's wonky. Okay, that water, believe it or not, water has to be level. If the water's at a 45-degree angle, okay, then that's more acceptable than being slightly off. Because a 45-degree angle means it's so far, you're obviously being creative. I'm not saying it works, but what I'm saying is you as a photographer are indicating that you're being creative with your work. And that's more acceptable than if it's just off, being level. Let's move on. Yeah, Mark, you asked me to ask Adam about this. Do you know what? I never even looked at Adam's pictures last week because we had such a long, in-depth conversation. I even forgot to look at Adam's pictures. So I've got a whole heap of Adam's pictures to go through as well. I won't go through them tonight, so don't worry about that. It's a bit awkward going through another photographer's pictures if he's not here, you know, because the chances are they might have sent you a picture because there's a backstory attached to it and not because it's a brilliant picture. I do the same thing as well. I got caught out with that yesterday, actually. I was interviewed yesterday for the Irish Photography Podcast guys. They interviewed me, asked me to send 5 pictures. I sent 5 pictures. One of them especially because it's got a real backstory to it. All of a sudden the interview ended and I said to him, oh, you didn't ask about the pictures. He said, oh no, I'm just going to show them as an overlay while we're chatting. And I thought, right, okay. That's a bit awkward because I sent you the pictures thinking we can talk about them because it's one of my favourites because it has a backstory. But anyway. Yeah, I think if you look at Adam's last video or the video before, you have a problem when you shoot woodland in that woodland has got to be, I suppose it's like landscape photography per se, it's got to be minimalistic, or it's got to tell a story, or it's got to be packed full of stuff, which makes you come back and look at it and look at it and look at it again. But unfortunately, for me, this just doesn't work. It doesn't work. And I experiment with pictures like this all the time, Mark, so don't worry about it. The idea is experiment with it. And more often than not, it looks good, you know, through the camera while you're taking the picture. When you come back, you don't like the picture. I mean, let's be honest. That's why most of us, if not all of us, will take more pictures than we display. We don't only take pictures we're going to display. We take pictures because we think, I like that's going to possibly work. But in the cold light of day, when you come back, sit down, look at your picture and start dissecting it, you think, I don't really like it. And this one kind of falls into that category. And the reason why it does for that is really it's just because of the main part of the interest in the image is smacked right bang in the middle. And so, sorry, Mark. I'm just giving you my honest impression. Okay. Yeah, it's Raymond. Let me just be honest with you. It's a snapshot. It's one of these pictures where you go to somebody's house and somebody says, "Oh, look at my pictures I took last week," you know, and then you look at it and think, "Oh, okay, right, it's a lighthouse," because all I can see is it's a lighthouse. It's a lovely looking lighthouse, but you just need to work on your composition a bit more in terms of, like, you've included the grass, which is fine, but I just don't think the grass being added into this image is adding to the image at all. Does that make sense? I'm sorry, just don't think it adds to it. I really don't. But fine, just work on that a bit more. Susan. Okay, let me. Right. I don't. Again. Oh. The main part of the image is right in the middle, so it's splitting the image up. I love the trees. But you know what? And I might be wrong with this, Susan, and please tell me if I am wrong. But this looks to me as if you've created the mist effect afterwards. I might be wrong. It might be a foggy day. But to me, it looks like you've added the fog in post-production, in which case it doesn't come across very well. Yeah. But every time I do woodland photography, it's never blooming foggy. It's never foggy. Yeah, but I do like it. I do like it. I just think that, to me, I've just got and I might be wrong, and I'm really sorry if I am, but to me, I get the impression, let's put it full screen so the guys out there, oh, it's daft. This is really stupid. If you go full screen, you can't zoom in. Right. There. Have a quick look at that, guys, and you tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong. I don't know. You might have been the other side of water with a longer lens, and that's really maybe why it's a bit foggy at the bottom. Maybe it's a bit of, you know, mist coming off the water or something. I don't really know. But to me, the one thing that spoils it for me is that tree is right smack bang in the middle. So to me, it splits up the image. Okay, Susan. See, Susan. Let's get me back on the screen. Sorry, once again, if you guys are leaving any comments, but I'm concentrating on this, then I'll come back to the comments, I promise you. This one, Susan again. This is nice. This is fine. I know it sounds daft, but you don't have to be... I always tell people, if you're boring, it just works. And rules of thirds, you've decided to put the horizon on the bottom. Not that it's essentially you do that, but you've maintained all of that lovely detail in there as well. Maybe a little bit oversaturated, but it's really nice, a nice picture. And that's one that you definitely print and put on your wall, and I think it's quite nice. It's all right. That's nice. Again, I'm not sure what skill set you're at, Susan. But yeah, it's quite nice. It's quite nice. It's quite nice. It's okay. See, it's very difficult. The minute something is technically right, as in the detail is there, as in rules of thirds have been obeyed, the horizon's right, then really it's the content matter that blows you away or not. It's the scene, does it blow you away? As much as it doesn't blow me away, it's difficult then to start finding fault with it. You know, if you were to rate it then on a rating of 1 to 10 of how exciting this picture is for you, you know, if you were then to give it, say, a 4, for instance, or a 5 out of 10, it doesn't mean to say it's a bad picture. It just means that, you know, technically you've got everything right, but in a different scene somewhere else. I think the only thing missing from this picture is maybe a point of interest, but then again, look at that sunset, it's amazing. So, fair dues to you. Fine. Oh, you see? Now it's good that you have a go at somebody and then they pull it back with a picture like this. I really, really, really like this. Did I do something with this picture? I've just thought of something. Bear with me a sec, guys. Did I... Oh, no, I didn't. No, okay. All right. Okay, let's come back to this again then. Susan, the only thing I would do with this picture, my lovely, is I want breathing space. This has potential to be brilliant, but if only you were wider, if only we had maybe more space to the right hand side, because the main point of interest is right jam packed in the middle, and this here is the main focal. Yeah, it's nice. This could be potentially so good. But what I would honestly do with this picture if I was you, Susan, is put it into Photoshop and learn to expand the canvas and fill the picture in and experiment with it. Just add a bit more to the right, and then if anything, move the picture slightly more to the right. Just experiment with it, because you can do it with this picture. You really can. But yeah, the subject matter is fantastic. And it's making me shiver, so that's pretty cool. I like that. It's good. Tony's been desperate for me to critique this picture. I love my street photography. Yeah, it's Tony. What it is what you see. It's just two guys stood there shaking hands. It's nothing any more than that. I don't know what to say about it. It's just literally two guys stood there shaking hands. Now, as much as that's what street photography is all about, I totally get that. Look where the eye levels are. Eye levels in the top third. See, told you it works, didn't I? Yeah. Ultimately, it's If that was a bank of 20 pictures that you wanted to show off to people, then it would fit in probably fine. But as it is at the moment, quite literally, I don't know why I'm sat there with my headphones on. I'm not listening to anything or anybody, but quite literally, it's just two guys talking in the street and shaking hands. Can you remember when we used to shake hands when we'd meet people? I wonder what will happen when life gets back to normal. Are we all going to be like hello from a distance, or are we all going to do this? I don't know. Isn't that really strange? Back to me. Oh, have I got one more? Joseph sent me a whole pile of pictures. I'm not going to go through all these. Let me flick through and give you first impressions. Joseph, again, I can't stress this enough. I really can't stress this enough. Is this top left hand side? Give your pictures more breathing space. You cannot go wrong if you give pictures breathing space. Honestly, just give your pictures some breathing space. Same as all of this. See, at the moment, what I can see is you've taken a picture of some driftwood. What I want to see is a scene with driftwood in it. And I think that's the difference when you go from taking pictures to becoming a better photographer, is that you soon learn that it's like taking a picture of a dog. You pick up your phone, can I take a picture of your dog, mister? And you take a picture of your dog. But the minute you start thinking about taking a picture of a dog, and then how can I associate the dog with the background, then your photography then starts to kick in, if that makes sense. Same as this. It's nice, I can see what you've done, shallow depth of field, you're having a bit of a play, but all I can see is a pile of rocks. Okay, that's a bit soft. Yeah, so I like this. This is, now we're starting to look outside of the box. And believe it or not, I know there's nothing exciting going on here, but this is starting to work for me now. Now we've got a full-size picture. In other words, you didn't just aim your camera at the girl. We've now got a scene with the girl in it, and not just a picture of a girl. That's a picture of a bloke. No pictures. Oh, apologies. Oh, it should be. Hang on, guys. Apologies. Yeah. My remote control's not working. So now we should be back to having pictures. Sorry. Can we see the image? Yes, okay. Sorry, I didn't read your comments. I can't read your comments while I'm doing everything. Yeah, but that's why I've got Tony on board. So let's go back to where we were. 1 second, guys. My apologies. All right, okay, sorry. Gotta go through all that again. I'll be as quick as I can. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, desktop and webcam. Right, we're on there. Right, okay. So first one I looked at there, I said we need some more breathing space. There. Nice picture, but we just need some more breathing space. Where are we here? Apologies about that, guys. So this one here, now you guys, if you heard what I said, but now you can see what I'm making reference to, and what I'm making reference to is quite literally, this is just a camera pointing at driftwood. Driftwood looks really nice, but unless the driftwood is really super exciting, it's not going to hold a viewer's attention for very long. So in theory, what this needs to be, like I said earlier, is that you just need to show driftwood, but in a scene, or a scene with driftwood in it, and not just a picture of driftwood like that. That's just a picture of stones. So unless those stones are exciting to look at, you won't hold the attention of the viewer for very long. Like that. That's just a picture of somebody singing. So you could now be telling me, apart from the fact it's soft, you could now be telling me, well, actually, that's my son-in-law singing or something. And that's how I would see that picture, as you literally just taking a picture of your son-in-law. Wherefore this picture now is a scene with a subject in it. I'm not saying it's better for it, compositionally wise, but it's still not a brilliant picture. But I like that. That's the sort of picture I would take. Same as that, now we've got a picture of somebody, but yeah, you just need to work on your pictures a bit more. So that's a bit better. But everything's eyes, top third, if you know what's top third. Perfect. but he's still in the middle of the frame. I don't know. To me, I always want to associate somebody with the background, and I think that's what makes a good street photography picture. If you've got a picture of two people fighting, then you want a close-up picture probably to show the detail and the action of, you know, street performers performing their act or whatever. But then also, it's great to come back out and show, you know, 100 people all stood around watching the street performers perform. So in other words, tell the story with our photography. Okay, like that. And what I see all too often, and all you guys out there can draw from this, is I see an awful lot of nasal hair photography. Try putting a wide lens on and stay in wide. It's difficult to do, but try it. Because all I can see here, again, it's exactly the same as the driftwood. I can see two lovely people sat down on the bench, but we can't even see the whole of the bench, so there's no storytelling. If we zoom right back, told the whole story, showed the sky, showed the scene in the background, and then maybe if they were the only two people sat there, then again, that's brilliant. You know, two lovers sat down on a bench or whatever, and then that starts to tell a story. But at the moment, it's almost like I've got a new camera and I've got a long lens and I'm going to zoom in and capture everything at full zoom. And it's not storytelling. Yeah, same for this. It's all very close to the edge. Just give it some breathing space. Breathing space. Okay. Yeah, that's a bit better. Right. Are we done? Back working again now, which is really bizarre. Right, let's have a quick look at the comments before I look at my the best of Facebook from the week. So just bear with me. Yeah, but take all that with a pinch of salt. I'm not having a go at anybody, but what I'd love to do is I wish I could judge people on their skill set. You know, because that's important to me. I need to be able to judge you on your skill set. If it was a one-to-one you and I were on, I'd very quickly assess your skill set. And then I would obviously compliment you or steer you in the right direction based on your skill set, and not just assume that everybody should be out there taking top-notch pictures from the get-go, because that certainly doesn't happen. Someone like Carol's a very good friend of mine. Carol comes out with me quite a bit, and Carol's noticed that, you know, just recently, because Carol's there listening now and she'll back me up, being completely honest with her, is, you know, because we've been out quite a few times photographing together, you know, I now start giving her more and more grief, because now she should know to take better pictures, like I should know to take better pictures. So therefore I'm judging her like I expect to be judged on the fact, well, Gary, you're a professional, your pictures look rubbish. That's how I expect to be judged as well. It's just a fact of life, is one of those things. But if obviously somebody's very new to photography, I can't start laying into them. Watch, Carol will come back now and give me some grief. Mark, you've missed it, Mark. How you doing, mate? Lynette, great advice. No, you're welcome. Carol left the room. Oh no. Oh, she hasn't left the room, is she? Carol, are you still there? Can only see you, no photos. Well, that's not a bad thing, Calvin, is it? Okay, I'm going back now. Let's have a look. Thanks, Gary, for your honest critique. The mist was not added, but taken at 500mm in a field. We'll try to add some more space on the right. That bothered me too. Okay, Susan. Susan. Okay, my lovely. Thank you. But Susan, again, I'm not sure your skill set, my lovely, but you've got some really nice pictures in there. But it just, I couldn't quite make that picture out, if I'm honest. Yeah, but I'm not saying it was a bad picture. It's just one of those things. Fine. Okay, hi John wrote, I thought I recognised the location scene. Hope all is well with you. Okay, so you guys are now having a chat with each other. Okay, guys, so let's move on swiftly. And now let's look at what did I do with this? Okay, bear with me a sec, guys, because I want to look at the Facebook. I did something with a particular picture. 1 second. All right, okay. I'll go through it. Let's have a quick look. Right, guys. Okay, so right, let's pop it up on the screen, guys, so you guys can see. In no particular order, before we get going, I want to make it perfectly clear the pictures that we're looking at now are from last week. I haven't included anything this week. So these are all pictures I'm looking at from last week. So there are loads of lovely pictures from this week. So I'm going to be hard pushed to find any good ones from last week, but next week, sorry, for this week. Okay, right, so these are last week's, because remember I should have done this on Sunday, so let's get cracking. These are just pictures that I've just copy and pasted from Facebook that I thought were really nice for whatever reason. This one here, well, being a dog fancier, not fancier, that sounds a bit wrong, doesn't it? Being a dog lover myself, not sure that even sounds better. It's I love this, but what I love about this picture, capturing this image like this, is brilliant because it's a full-on action shot, but the dog's pounding towards the camera. Now, I don't care what camera you've got or what lens you've got, expensive or non-expensive. At the end of the day, to get a picture of a fast-moving subject moving close towards the camera like that is so difficult. It's so difficult, yet you've nailed that. I love that shot. Really, really nice. I'm sure that you meant to take that shot and you were probably goading the dog and all the rest of it, but that is a great, great shot. By the way, if you've taken 100 of these and only 5 come out, then that's no different to us. All right, so there you go. Don't think for one minute that I'll go down, try and grab the same shot, take 100 pictures, and all 100 come out. So if you do have a lot of images that you have to throw away, then don't worry about it. Okay, I just double check, make sure everybody can see me. Perfect, you can all see me, you can all see the picture. What's that? Andy Canavan, Andy, that's a cracking picture, mate. I love that one. This one, Andy again. Andy, I like this picture, but I am going to CC it a little bit. I like what you're doing. I do like what I think you're overworking it a bit too much. You don't need to overwork this image. I like the style of the image and I like what you do. Just don't overwork it. I don't like the greens. I hope you haven't color popped it, but if you see down here the greens, I think the greens really spoil it. I think if you revisited this picture and just leave the greens in but desaturate them a bit, it will be a much nicer picture. Leave them green, just desaturate them a bit. That's all I'm saying. Daniel Pavel. Daniel, nice shot. Do you know what I don't have for my portfolio? Is any desert sand pictures. I don't have any. What a real shame that is, because I love these type of pictures. If you go and have a look at Adam Gibbs's website, just type in Adam Gibbs and then eventually go to his portfolio. I think he takes a lot of these images and they are just timeless and breathtaking and one of a kind. Because sand dunes move, nobody else will ever be able to capture this image. Yeah, and it's a nice picture. I quite like that. It's good. Very nice, Daniel. Very, very nice. I wonder where that was taken. Okay, I like this picture. Mr. Pierce. Dave is out every day. Don't ever buy a camera from Dave Pierce, because if he was to write down on eBay hardly used, he's lying through his back teeth, because all of his cameras, right, are used to within an inch of their lives, and so they should be. Well done, Dave. Dave is posting pictures on social media all the time. He never ever stops. But that's the way to learn. I really like that one. Honestly, every time I go out taking pictures of woodland, it's never foggy. Never. I like that one. It's just a simple composition and I quite like that. Gary Goza. Now, Gary posts loads of these pictures on my Facebook page. And when I first saw the picture, I thought I didn't know what to do with it, because I don't like all the you know, I want to try and keep my Facebook page to just people who take pictures, whatever standard, but physically take pictures, not snapshots, because I do remove quite a few pictures. If you see your pictures disappear, it's because I don't think that they warrant being on the site. Not because they're bad, that I would never take a bad picture off, but I want to keep pictures on that were created for a reason. And let me explain about this picture. The reason why I like this picture, right, is just simply because Gary, with his camera at home, has gone through the process of creating all of this, lighting it, compositionally wise, he's worked on it, and then he's taken the picture. Is it a mind-blowing picture? Of course it's not. Is it going to win any awards? No, it's not. But it's just the sort of picture that I first did when I got into photography. Again, I can't stress this enough. You know, a vase with a flower on it. We saw Thomas's video, but I've been doing it for the past probably 30 years. A vase with a flower in it next to a window, and window light photography is nothing new. It's been going around for hundreds of years. But not only a vase with a flower, any subject matter, stick it by a window, 45-degree angles, give yourself a bit of a distance, and then move the subject relative to the light. And that's how you learn about light, composition, and and exposure and photography, etc. So it's not mind-blowing, but I just love the fact that he's put so much effort into creating that picture. Well done, Gary. I bet most of you are out there right now are saying, Gary, you've gone off your blinking mind. You know, how can you like such a picture? But I like it because this is how you learn photography. I love it. He's done loads, by the way. All right, okay. Oh, see, just think for a second how much thought process has gone into that. He's got 3 cameras, or 2 cameras and a tie, all lined up right on the subject matter, and I just love it. Come on, what's not to like about that? Gary, if you're listening, work on the compositions a bit more, but then do me a favor, take it to the next level and play around with your light, because at the moment we don't have any light. It's just like as if it's a light on in the room. Try and go in a dark area, get a single light source, and start moving your single light source and watch how the light will change a scene. Yeah, so just up your game ever so slightly and work on that. John Cusick. I like that. It goes against everything, goes against the grain, because the eyes are pretty much right in the middle of the frame, pretty much slightly above. But I love the feel of this. I think you've done right with the black and white. I do like that. Well done, John. That's a nice picture. I like that. John Pettigrew. That's a hummingbird, I believe, isn't it? Nailed that. Absolutely nailed it. I wish it was slightly wider. Chances are you've taken it wider but cropped in really tight. I would revisit it and just give it a bit more breathing space. But the bird, the eye, sharp as you like, and also the shutter speed you've chosen is spot on for me, because obviously the body is still, but the wings show movement, and I like that. Good, I like that. John, another one from John. I had to look at this a couple of times actually, because I was trying to figure out what it was, and instantly that wins me over. Nice abstract photography. I like it's the underside of a leaf. I like it. I take pictures like this myself. I do like it. I think it's quite good. Not sure what the white is. Is the white the reflection of the sun coming off the underside of the leaf? Possibly. But I like it. Quite dreamy, and I like the fact that it's abstracty. So it's really, really nice. Okay. John Starkey. I'm not sure if you're watching this, John, but you've got yourself a 2 out of 10 picture, right? Let me have a go at you for a quick second, but then let's change it to an 8.5 in seconds. In other words, this compositionally is fantastic. The lighting is fantastic. The mist, the path, the subject matter is perfect where it should be. This is a wonderful, wonderful picture, but it's a massive, massive turn off for me because of the simple sky that's burnt out there. Now, I don't know what you're like in Photoshop or Lightroom, but it takes seconds to make this a 2 out of 10 picture into an 8.5 out of 10 picture. But I would never ever print a picture like this in a million years. and it's such a shame. But watch, I put it in Photoshop and I just simply did that, right? I did that. It took me about a minute and a half, and now I'm looking at a picture. Let's go full screen on there. But now I'm looking at a picture that I would definitely print and put on my wall. And all I've done is simply filled in the bits of light on the right hand side that was pulling my eye away. Okay, I've got to zoom back out again now to go from one to the other. So in other words, that's your picture there. But can you see now, I bet you, now I've mentioned it, on the right hand side where the light is breaking through the clouds, is drawing the eye into the scene. And you've done well to maintain all the detail in the scene, but to me, if I couldn't maintain the detail in the sky, then I would simply fix it in Photoshop. Remember, only you can see the before and after, nobody else. In which case, if you then worked at it, okay, and you did that and just fix that bit of sky, which takes literally seconds to do, all right, then you've got yourself a much better picture. And all I did, it's just a personal choice, is I've literally darkened the foreground down just slightly. I've left it there, but darkened it down slightly, just because I wanted to exaggerate the fact that the light is shining on the sheep behind the tree. So I wanted to just steer the viewer's eye in. But that is a lovely, lovely picture. If anything, I would have cropped that slightly tighter. I may have gone for a 16:9 crop, because realistically, as much as I said it's about breathing space, I would quite literally have reduced some of the floor and reduced some of the sky and compact that image into nothing but goodness. I like that one. It's really nice. Really, really nice. Yeah, so well done, John. That's a great shot. Juan, is it? Juan? Oh, I used to do a lot of this. Again, little things like this is what you learn, or how you learn photography. Yeah. Joss stick or fag, whatever. I think it's a joss stick. Something that just emits a bit of smoke, bit of backlighting or side lighting. Make sure your flash doesn't hit the background. The background doesn't even need to be black, as long as you know what you're doing with your lights, and then you'll end up with a picture that looks like that. Very abstracty, will always work, and believe it or not, is very sellable. Very, very sellable. So well done, Juan. Mark Hopkins, very nice. Like this again, such a difficult shot to grab. I want it just to be a little bit wider, but no, I like that. But again, Mark, I don't know, this is just me, but look, let me make it a little bit bigger. Sorry about this. But can you see this above the bird's head? Now, obviously, it's the tree, but just remove it in Photoshop. It just doesn't need to be there. Just remove it. That's me. That's just me. I'm sure if anyone's still listening. All right, keep going, keep going. Nearly done. I think we're nearly done. Mark Pritchard, taking some pictures of, he's been experimenting. And have I got a couple of pictures of Mark? Yeah, three. 1, 2, 3. I love these series of pictures that you've put in, Mark. I really like them. I like what you've done with the lighting. I think it's delectable. I really do. The eyes in this particular image is working for me. I love that. I love the direction of light that you've created there. I think that works really nice. There is some unwritten rules in portrait photography, and let me give you one of them. Right? When I say rules, yeah, it is a rule, really. I know a lot of you will probably think, no, that can't be right. The nose must never break the cheekbone. The nose must never break the cheekbone. So what I'm saying there is, watch. This is a fantastic picture. Let's go full screen. This is a fantastic picture. She's a gorgeous, gorgeous model, and the pose is wonderful, and she's looking down. But the nose has broken the cheekbone. There, can you see that? I think you guys can see my mouse, but look at the end of her nose. Now I've mentioned it, it now looks like a pimple on the end of her cheek. And it's a bit of it's an unwritten rule, but if you were to submit that picture, say for your qualifications, if you wanted to get your licentiate or associate, for instance, if you wanted to get letters after your name, then that picture would be thrown out. It doesn't matter how gorgeous the subject is or how well she pulled off the pose. The nose has broken the cheekbone. What that means is you could take a side profile shot. Okay, I'm so the wrong person to do this, by the way, but you could take a side profile shot of somebody looking out that way. That's not a problem. And obviously they can look towards the camera and they can look away and look down, but they can only look so far. Once they start looking so far, you've just got to watch that nose doesn't break that cheekbone. And the minute you start coming around a bit further, then that nose will break the cheekbone. So just be aware of that. But yeah, I do like my portraiture. I love what you've done with the lighting on that, by the way. But trust me, go back, revisit that image and look at it again and it will put you off. That's a shame, but a lovely set of images. So I'm not having a go at that. I'm just going to give you a little bit of advice. Same for this. I love that you've nearly focused on the eyes, or certainly that eye. It's always the eye closest to the camera. I love the pose, but we don't punch people. Beware the knuckles. Knuckles are very masculine in pictures. Again, ignore what I'm saying now if you're not really into your portraiture photography, but that's why models will always break fingers. Always. Never this. Always break fingers. You see what I mean? So for instance, if I got somebody in the studio and I pose them now, then I always do this, right? And then ask them just to turn the hand round. Just the same as symmetrical. You know, if you're going to do a close-up, you never do that. You always go one higher than the other. Always one hand higher than the other. So another little tip for you. Okay, yeah, but that's a beautiful picture. Really, really nice. Keep working with that model. I'm not sure who that model is, but keep working with her because she's brilliant. Yep, okay, let's have a look at this one. Nikki Fulks. Nikki, like that one, Nikki, my lovely. Wider. Tell more of a story. Let me just double check and make sure you guys are still with me. Desktop. Are you all still here? Hopefully you are. Not much more to go now, guys. What time are we on? Oh, geez. Has it been that long? This is only going to be half an hour thing. Sorry. I get into it. Sorry. All right. Okay. Yeah, Nikki, that's really nice, my lovely. I'm sorry about that. I lost my train of thought. Hey. Yeah, these people on the right hand side, for instance, again, they're peeping on the frame. I would have taken my crop a bit wider to include those people a little bit more, because they're nice in the image, especially because they're actually looking at the train. So remember I said if you've got somebody in an image, as long as they complement the subject matter, then they deserve to be in there. And right now they're complementing the subject matter because they're looking at it. And I love that. That's really, really nice. Okay, where are we now? Richard Rizzo. Richard, my good friend, I like that. I like that a lot. I think that's really, really nice. Again, this is how you learn photography. Remember I said you could put anything against a window, 45-degree angles, look at the shadows coming from it. Shadows are great things to play around with. I love the fact that you've obviously done this. You've probably played around with it and then dropped your Venetian blinds and thought, you know what, I like that. Yep, I do like that. That's really nice. Well done, Rich. Keep them coming. Tanya. I need to ban Tanya. I need to kick Tanya from the Facebook group. Never ever to see her again. Fancy posting creepy crawly pictures like that. Do you know what makes it worse? I actually think that that's Tanya's spider. I think Tanya, if you're here now, Tanya, do me a favour or send me a PM or something. Let me know if this is actually your spider. Oh my God. What a terrific shot that is though, Tanya. I love it. Yeah, focusing right on the eyes, exactly where it should be. It's a nice picture, that, Tanya. Nice. Compositionally wise, I love it. Just enough space everywhere, yeah. Ooh. Is anybody else feeling like that now? Anybody else? Are we done? Are we done, guys? Are we done? We might have done. Oh, we're done. Oh, what? We're done. Let's have a quick look at the comments, guys. Did I ask you to leave any comments? I'm not quite sure. We've got Mally in. See, now I'm reading the comments and now you guys are having a conversation with each other. It's almost like like I shouldn't be here. I just set up a chat room and then you guys can just chat away. Manny, my good friend, we should be going out together pretty soon. Looks like we're starting to get back together again. Okay, let's have a quick look. Yeah, you guys. Gary, agree. Excellent scene setups. John Punnett, thank you. Hi, sir. I love you. We're okay. Yeah, Harris, thank you. Move the watermark as well. Yeah, okay. So now I don't know which picture you're making reference to. So it's really strange. Let me explain about watermark. Sorry, I won't take up your time. It's been an hour and a half. It's going to be half an hour. It's an hour and a half. Sorry about that, but you guys are still here, so what the hell. Watermarks. Do you know, I never watermark my pictures. I never do. I just feel the watermark pulls from the picture. Having said that, if you put watermarks on the picture, sometimes it can add to it if you get a little fancy watermark. But don't put watermarks on pictures if you think it's going to stop people from stealing them, because it isn't. Obviously, as we all know. Let's have a look. Dermot, how you doing, my good friend? Dermot from the Irish Photography Podcast, guys. Love their photography podcast. Listen to it every week. And I'm going to be featured on it. I think they've got me in one of those reserve ones. If they can't get a star along, if they've got a gap, then they'll just feed me in. I think that's why he interviewed me yesterday. No, joking. He interviewed me yesterday, which was really nice. And I think I'm going to be featured on there, on his vlog, I think, in about a couple of weeks' time. But I'll let you guys know on Facebook anyway. But always a pleasure. Dermot, you know that, mate, and I'm really, really, really looking forward to coming out and spending some time with you in Ireland and photographing along the coastline. Lovely jumping spider. All right, okay, yeah, Dave Pierce. I'm never out with a camera, by the way. Ask the wife. I'm never out with a camera. Well, you do a lot of copy and pasting from the internet then. Don't you dare lie to me. Question, when do you think one-to-one workshop will be up and running? I think in about a few weeks' time. I don't like plugging stuff like this, but if anybody wants a one-to-one, by the way, on Skype, if you're a member, then I'll do it for free. It's not really a problem. If you're not a member, then I'll charge you about £25. It's the offer I've got, or something now for an hour. Anyway, I don't like plugging and advertising myself, but it's on my website. Go to shootsmart.co.uk, shootsmart.co.uk. That's actually my training website that I've had forever. Go and have a look on there. John Pundit, okay, excellent. Thanks, Gary. Enjoyed that. You guys can all disappear now if you want to, because I'm just bantering back and forth. I'll hang on for another few minutes. If anybody's got any questions, just ask them now. There is a 30-second delay, but if you've got a question to ask, get it in ASAP. Thank you, Harish. Very kind of you to say. Oh, Dermot saying on the 21st of May. Look at that. How efficient is that? 21st of May. I can't even get a video out regularly, and he's telling me he's actually got a date for my video coming, or his video coming out with me in it. I nearly said starring me then. All right, okay, yeah, right. And of course, if anybody has got any images you want me to critique, then send them in to me, but give me an idea of what your skill set is, but be honest with me. All right, if you're out every blooming week with your camera in your hand, and you feel you should be a good photographer, then just tell me that. At least then I can give you honest feedback relative to your skill set. If you're brand new, but don't lie, but if you're brand new, let me know that as well, because again, there's nothing worse than hurting somebody's feelings who's brand new when I should be giving them encouragement. So try and let me know that as well if you can, please. I am from India, in Mumbai. Harish, welcome. Welcome to the channel, Harish. Thank you very much indeed for being here, sir. Thank you. India, Mumbai. Right, okay. Dad collected photographers. Right. See, now I'm probably picking up on conversations that you guys are having with each other. It's so difficult to do this. Joan, great stream as always. Gary, see you Sunday. Mwah. Joan, thank you very much indeed for everything you do, my lovely. You know that. Thank you, Gary. I watched all your videos. Excellent, David. Thank you. Okay, right. Stop blowing smoke on my backside. Murray, are you still here? Great stuff, Gary. Enjoyed that. Cheers, Murray. Thank you very much indeed. Excellent show, Gary. Cheers, Siddhi. Al Siddhi, Mali. Quick, anybody else got any questions before I disappear? Have a good night. Thanks for the live show. Kelvin, you are more than welcome. Another great show, Gary. See you Sunday. Thank you very much indeed. Hi, Gary, dropping in from Canada. That's great, that, isn't it? Virtual dinner party. How could you call yourself virtual dinner party on social media? Right, but thank you very much, Steve, for being here from Canada. This I'll leave. If you've just joined us, by the way, I joined us late. I'll leave it on YouTube for a couple of days, then I'll get rid of it. So you can always go back and watch it tomorrow if you wish. Stay safe, everybody. See, now I'm going to keep going now until everybody disappears. Thank you from Portugal. Right, guys, that's it. All right, Kate. Great from Venice. Octavian from Venice. How cool is that? Imagine saying you live in Venice. Not very good if you don't like water or you can't swim, but yeah, pretty cool, that. Thank you very much, Steve. Ta-ta for now. Cheers, Barry. Okay, I will see you all on Sunday. If anybody's got any pictures you'd like me to see once again, send them to gary@garygough.co.uk. I'll leave a link down below. Thank you very much, Steve. Thanks for joining me. Have a good night. I am super excited about going out vlogging tomorrow. Mally, if you're still here, I am out vlogging tomorrow. It all starts from tomorrow again. Thank you very much, Steve. Once again, I can't stress that enough. Thank you for being here. Good night, everybody. Take care. Stay safe. And I will see you on Sunday because I've got Nick Page on Sunday. Nick Page is here. I, for one, are super excited about that. Good night.